Hey, there's Bijal on Be Epic today, and I have a very special guest. In fact, a returning guest, Mike Soto. So, Mike is the founder of Connected Ally and also the VP of two companies that we are going to be introducing to you. But the reason I had Mike join us today is because of his unique role of bringing to the market very innovative but social impact projects in this time of need, and why he's chosen to align with these companies, and how he's working with these companies as the VP to bring these solutions to the market, especially during these times when so many companies are kind of pulling back from their social impact. So first of all, Mike, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Mike, let's just dive into this, because when we talked beforehand, both the solutions you're currently working on have such an important relevance right now to people out there. So let's take one at a time. So let's just dive straight into Sapiens. This is how we got connected initially, and the role that you're playing in Sapiens. So first of all, for those who don't know, what is Sapiens and what does Sapiens do?
Yeah, so it's a a youth education organization. So we train kids K through 12 in all subjects, all grades. And we do that through our physical learning center based in Las Vegas. And we do virtually, and we do that. We train kids in India, America, Mexico, Canada. So literally all around the world. And we have a unique standpoint to us where we also train on mental math, which is very unique for America. But really, it just focuses on training academics and developing growth mindset, and really focusing on brain exercise. Some real cool stuff there.
So let's just clarify. This is more than just, it's not even more, it's very distinct than just a tutoring center, right? You're really working towards creating models of improving mental function in a very holistic way, using mental math as one of the models. But again, the idea of Sapiens wasn't just to be a tutoring center, but really a child kind of evolutionary center.
100%. I mean, so, first thing, the core of it is growth mindset, making sure that every kid understands that, look, your brain is just another muscle, but your life is what you make it. I mean, just like you end up kind of understanding that as you grow and as you learn in life, that you literally, the world is depending on the work that you're going to put in, you could definitely make it into whatever you want. And your mind is exactly like that. So first is understanding the emotional, the EQ, the emotional intelligence part. But then, fundamentally, having good grades is significant. It's significant to a kid's self-worth and self-value, how they perceive themselves. So you have to make sure that you're doing well. And the concept with Sapiens is literally from beginning to end. You drop your kid off there, we're going to make sure that they're walking out with A's, A pluses, or 4.0s, and they're acing it. And then that starts building interest in academics. And from that point on, kids are unstoppable.
And what I liked about your model, Mike, so even though a natural result of the programs you teach is higher grades, the real bedrock of this is teaching kids how to almost better use their brains, right? I mean, problem solving is one of the core aspects of what I saw you guys. When I went through your curriculum and understood really what it was you're attempting to do, the A's is almost like a byproduct, but really what you're doing is you're teaching kids how to better use their brains, and to show them that really, even as adults, we're just tapping into a small fraction of what's possible. And by activating the brain through something like mental math, you're allowing the children to use their brain to solve far greater problems, make better decisions in their life.
100%. So this is I'm obsessed with the founder, Vishal. He developed and kind of really grew that curriculum and just the culture and spirit that we kind of teach at the center and online. So a lot of it comes from discipline, very structured and very focused on disciplining kids and making sure that they're bought in, almost having a sports culture to academics. And that's what keeps kids engaged. It helps them understand the values of why we're doing what we're doing, so they're more bought in. Gamifying it so it's fun. And then absolutely, the thing that I talk about the most, and I teach, kids all over the world now, is I mainly focus on the workshops that have to do with growth mindset and the concept of what you were speaking about, neuroplasticity, which is the neuroscience that speaks to how you can, how your brain can respond and grow and change in response to stimulation. So basically your brain is just another muscle, and you can exercise it in different ways. And you talked about problem solving. So yeah, that's the right hemisphere of the brain. And generally you work out that part of the brain by doing math. And that's sequencing, logic, analytical thought, all come from that side. And quite literally, you can improve it. So like if you're starting as a kid, there's a limited timeline that you have to leverage the science of neuroplasticity. It still works when we're older. Like at our age, we'll still be able to develop it. But when you're a kid, your mind is extremely malleable. In your brain, the synapse connections can grow extremely quickly. So we like to, train kids in that manner through, using the mental math curriculum that Vishal and the Sapiens developed, because we've seen, I know you saw some of the results. It's literally almost unbelievable what kids are able to do, the type of math, the type of confidence they develop, creativity they develop. Literally they start developing photographic memory. It's almost weird to see if you're not familiar with the Asian world of, in Japan, China, Singapore, they teach this, like it's like almost mandatory in school to do some of these classes. So it's much more normal out there, but here we're trying to popularize it because, that's a lot of what we want to do is really enhance the education system and just the success of the youth in America. And this is a big tool to help them do that.
And I think it's really important that, look, everything has changed, Mike, we're living in totally like a new time period, right? We don't know what the long-term effect of schools being shut down, a mass transition to virtual schooling. We don't even know how well the schools are going to do in this. And as parents, we've got to do our part in looking for, I'll say, supplemental education, but to keep our kids at the forefront of education. And I'm not just talking about schooling. I'm talking about their ability to look at the future problems, what's coming at them, and to use their brains to navigate, what's ahead of us, and not just kids, but adults too. But this is really a time as a parent, I feel honor bound to kind of, look out for opportunities for my child to do something that's maybe even outside the school system, but yet can be a long-term benefit to their mental growth, to their mindset. In how they approach life moving forward. But we can talk all day about the courses you do, but Sapiens has been doing something very fascinating and interesting in terms of their give back to the community. So can you tell us more about what you and the Sapiens team have been doing and why you did it and what you're doing to impact the community?
Yeah, so literally that's that conversation, connecting to what you just said of what we need to teach kids and just even adults, looking at, okay, well, how do I problem solve, or how can I be proactive or anticipate problems? As a business person, that's what you do, right? As a parent, that's what you do. I have a 10-year-old son, and I'm always thinking about, okay, what's the next thing I have to coach him on, or what, before he runs into this mistake, right? So, Vishal and I are always talking about what can we do for the community? What can we do to impact? How can we really connect? And how can we, especially with this challenge with virtual education? So, math is really one of the challenging points for parents, for students, and especially in America. It's really, really a challenge. In subprime communities, it's something like 5% of students, by the time they're in 8th grade, only 5% of students are considered proficient in math, like at grade level in math. 5%, 95% are not. Like that's insanity. So that was where we wanted to attack first, because we knew that if that's the challenge right now, like even previous years when kids were coming into school through virtual education, and in Las Vegas, that's obviously mandatory. All 5 days they're going to take school virtually. So we wanted to develop a program where kids were going to come and get homework help at our center for free. And literally, we started with the idea of math and we expanded it. We saw what the demand was, so we expanded it to all subjects. So now we literally set aside about $140,000 to hire teachers upfront so that they're coming. So credentialed teachers that would normally teach in schools, we hired them so they'll come to our center and teach for free. Doesn't matter if you've ever been to the Sapiens before. Doesn't matter if you're in Henderson, Summerlin, North Las Vegas, where you're from. You come to our center, and we're going to help the child make sure that they understand how to do their homework, and that they're able to do their homework with these teachers. And it's all, homework is reinforcement of what you're learning in class. So all the gaps and the challenges that they may have in completing their homework will be able to do that. And again, that also helps parents, because parents like, where are you going to put your kids now? Your parents are frustrated, and the way that we do math in school now is different from, Common Core math, and how you have to show your work in different ways is different from how parents had learned it. So, and that even bubbles up to more challenges. You see parents and teachers end up fighting. So we felt like this would be, one of the most important things that we could do or contribute to the community.
So let me just recap what I believe I heard you say. So basically, you have already spent the money to recruit teachers to come in to the center and teach for free. So that's your give back. You're going to actually take care of the teachers' fees, and they are made available to really help parents, but students really to stay on track with their studies during these times.
Yeah, with all their homework help, right? So any homework they bring in, reading, writing, history, math, we have teachers that are going to teach that are going to help them with that for free. So that burden is usually, homework is like one of the biggest burdens for families. So that we're taking care of that. And then we're not only taking care, the facility, we're making sure, I'm not sure if you've been to our facility, but we have a really state-of-the-art facility. It's about much larger. It's not a normal tutoring center. It's much larger. We have a bunch of different classrooms. We have a big workshop area. So our normal capacity is about 200 plus kids. Obviously, we're following CDC guidelines, so we're limiting it to under, to a fraction of that. So we're making sure that there's a lot of dynamic time slots. We're going to be open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. So that we can make sure that we're helping everybody. So I'm excited about that, but it's not even just the facility and the people and the teachers. We're also the school supplies, the workbooks, the pens, paper, book bags, all of that stuff where we actually spend another, at wholesale cost, like Alibaba cost, we spent about $75,000 to buy thousands of school supply kits that we're giving. Again, doesn't matter if you even come for homework help or you're just coming to pick it up, so that your kids can, so that the family doesn't have a burden in such a tough economical time, So that's also available at the center.
That's fantastic. Well, first of all, on behalf of the community, thank you for kind of, you and the team to kind of step in and kind of take that on. These are very challenging times for parents. Not all parents are able to support their kids the way they want to with homework and stuff, or with the schoolwork. So having this as a support is great for parents in Henderson, but just in Vegas. If parents can, if you're watching this and you have friends of yours who are parents in either the Henderson or surrounding areas, please pass this on. Let them know that Sapiens is available for support. And again, Mike, thank on behalf of you and the team doing such a great job there at Sapiens, and kind of expanding what you do to really address some of the challenges going on. So moving on from Sapiens, that's one of the companies that you work with, but there's another company that's doing something innovative as well in a totally different area, but also a very much in need area. So tell us about what you're doing with Rocket.
Yeah, so Rocket is really just, I've been extremely blessed, really, really, really blessed to work with the folks that I've been working out with, with the Sapiens, Bashar. None of that is possible. None of the education stuff, none of that magical curriculum. I've literally seen parents cry to me like in tears of joy of like the turnaround that their students have made, that their children have made. And I give so much of that credit to Bashar and his curriculum and his discipline and his focus and his passion for education. And one thing I just wanted to leave up with that organization is he also developed a program that a school day supervision program. So a lot of parents, especially in Vegas, because there's a lot of essential workers, and then there's a lot of workers that obviously are supporting the casinos, So in the tourist community, which is going to bring up the economy, for Las Vegas again. So with the schools going 5-day virtual, these students are able to come to our center, and they'll be supervised by teachers while they're taking the virtual classes. And since the school day is actually cut shorter, so normal school days are going to be cut like at 1 p.m. Again, parents are working. Where are you going to take your, where you're going to have your kids? How are you going to support them? So we have our teachers there. We'll supervise them, make sure that they're focused, and then afterwards do enrichment classes, reading and math, and then after that do homework help. So basically, you drop your kid off, you pick them up, and they should be ready to ace any test. They finish their homework, and they understand the material, and they should be walking out with a real significant confidence. So I'm just ridiculously excited about that whole concept. So and yeah, so moving on to Rocket now. So Rocket, yeah, I've been blessed also to work with Rocket, and that's owned by a few amazing entrepreneurs, Jonathan Kendrick and John Paul DiGiorio. And the CEO is James Gold, amazing guy. And they've just been so focused on how they can add value as well. I mean, they've done so many things for the homeless all throughout America, and in different donations and philanthropic kind of focuses. But the issue that we're in now with this pandemic is obviously there's a big challenge with healthcare, and not only affordable healthcare, but the right type of healthcare. Like how do I not get sick when I go out? So what we were able to launch together was a product called Rocket Telemedicine. So telemedicine is getting extremely popular now throughout America, but unfortunately, it's only available to folks that have insurance. And for those that don't know, telemedicine is basically an application that you can click a button and you get connected to a board certified doctor. That doctor can assess you very much like we're talking now. Okay, what's your, how does your throat feel? Show me your rash, show me the infected area. They'll assess it. They'll identify what type of prescription you may need, if you need one or not. And if you do need a prescription, they'll literally send a prescription to the pharmacy of your choice. And the unique thing about Rocket Telemedicine, again, is that they wanted to go after the people that were in need, right? Who really needs this? Who's really struggling? And so you don't need insurance with us, with Rocket Telemedicine. You don't need insurance. It doesn't matter whether you have a social security number or not. And it's only $10 a month. Get connected to a board certified doctor, get your prescription, and you'll even get up to 80% off of that prescription.
Wow. So for the people who are not familiar, this can be done outside of whatever else you've going on, right? So this is basically a standalone product. It's $10 a month. And it literally gives you access to doctors over the computer or the telephone, as you said. What additional costs can people expect from this? Like, is it just $10 a month, and then you pay a lot of fees afterwards? So break it down for us in terms of how it actually transacts.
Yeah, 100%. So the $10 a month gives access to the application to your family, with the entire household, with kids up to the age of 26 years old. So one subscription will cover everybody. And then very similar to even if you had insurance, there's a copay, right? So with this, there's a consult fee, and it's only $38. If you compare that to other telemedicine companies, so even if you have insurance, and so you're paying insurance is coming out of your paycheck, they'll still charge you $75 to $80. In this one, we're not taking any margin. We're subsidizing the cost, in fact. So the copay or the consult fee is only $38 when you want to do that visit.
That's brilliant. And does it also cover a prescription and things like that?
So for prescriptions, you get up to 80% off, up to an 80% discount off of any prescription. In fact, I have insurance, and I went to go get, I had to get amoxicillin because I had a sinus infection. And literally with the discount card, it was cheaper for my prescription than it was through my insurance. So I just used the Rocket Telemedicine prescription card, funny enough. But so it's extremely aggressive. And they again, another just amazing thing that these guys at Rocket are doing together. And I'm, excited to be a part of that for sure.
So Mike, so what's your role in the two very kind of different companies in terms of what they do, but maybe very similar in terms of their culture and their ideology of giving back, coming up with innovative solutions during these challenging times. So what's your role been, and how have you kind of helped bring these solutions to market when a lot of companies right now are kind of retracting, pulling back on their social give back projects, but you've taken a different, you and in the companies you work with have taken a different approach and really kind of almost aggressively bringing solutions rapidly to the market because you've identified a need in society. So how have you done that? How have you facilitated that?
Yeah, well, I mean, like in terms of my role there, I'm the vice president for both organizations. But in terms of, in terms of the role I'd say the most important concept in having a good product is identifying how to add value, right? You want to make a fair trade. Okay, so you need this, I have this, I need this money, you need this product or you need the service. Let's make this deal, right? And then right now, the opportunity is to how can you decrease your cost as much as you can so that you can decrease the price as much as you can, because right now the economy, folks are struggling. So luckily, working with owners in an organization that's very healthy. So they're definitely willing to bypass a lot of the margins and be more aggressive in pricing. That's been great. And then something that I've always, you'd have to, like a Steve Jobs quote was, you'd have to be crazy to be good at something that you don't love, and my thing has always been having a social impact and being able to give back to people. And I'm sure that's Vishal and Jonathan and James and John Paul DeJorio have that same state of mind. So if you can get aggressive in, working it backwards, saying instead of working with what products do I have and then let me learn how to market it. It's another Steve Jobs thing. If you look up, is he says, look at the customer need and then work your way back from there. So we know that if you want to really change the world, I went to school to be a history teacher. If you want to change the world, you start with kids. Because that is the future. It's very hard for me to change your mind. From a neuroscience standpoint, that's just factually true. It's harder for you to develop new synapse connections or neural connections than it is for a kid. And then from what's needed today, you talk about quality of life. I'm originally from New York. I'm from Jamaica, Queens. My dad was a single dad, and I've definitely been able to see the struggle of someone having to decide whether they would go to work or bring their kid to the doctor, or whether they would pay their cable bill, something silly like a cable bill, or have their kid checked out for a sore throat. Because it's literally, if you don't have insurance, it's $150 to get your daughter sore throat checked out, right? So people are living paycheck to paycheck, we're already living paycheck to paycheck. And it really didn't matter if you're making 60, 70, 80 grand. A lot of people were still living paycheck to paycheck because your expenses go up as your compensation goes up. So that was, kind of what connected me to telemedicine and really has for years made me obsessed with telemedicine. And then luckily being connected, I've been fortunate enough to just been to operate in a lot of different organizations myself, and that's got me connected to other entrepreneurs and other folks that are like-minded, and that's really what got us to these type of products. Yeah.
So let's kind of end this, because you are a natural connector, not just of people but of solutions. So tell us a little bit about Connected Ally. Where did that come from, and what role does that play in your world of solving problems?
Yeah. So, really it's I was thinking about stuff a lot recently, and it was this concept of be worthy of your luck. I've been lucky to be in a lot of organizations and to have experiences in scaling organizations and launching products and starting different companies, and really from the ground up. And I know how confusing it can be for people. Like, where do I get my LLC? How do you get a tax ID number? Like, just there's basic stuff like that. And then there's, there's, the design, marketing aspects. There's how to sign a lease, how to reduce your risk, reduce your exposure, how to build a brand, how to design websites, things like that. So I've been lucky to just get that experience. So I wanted to be worthy of being that lucky. And I felt that there's a lot of friends and a lot of business partners that have come back to me and asked me for help with that. So I said, you know what, during the pandemic, I know there's a lot of people at home that have those ideas, that that maybe this is the perfect time, right? Sometimes a setback is a setup for a comeback, right? For a bigger opportunity. And I've seen that happen in my life. And I'm especially recently much more connected to my faith, and that's kind of was the inspiration for Connected Ally. Was, look, if you need help, doesn't matter who you are, what idea it is, let's have a consultation 100% for free. I'll help you build it out. There's never a charge, or there's never a process where you're getting upsold, or there's never an exchange of money. If anything, I've helped fund a few companies already, and it's not a payback model. It's, okay, I believe in your project. Here's, a couple $1,000s, whatever startup money that they need. And that's really, that's purely just trying to plant seeds, right?
Well, that's fantastic. I mean, it's so awesome always to talk to you, because you're always, not just talking about bringing solutions to the market, but really bringing them. And I said, this is a time when, so many companies, even well-known companies, kind of pulling back, and it's kind of almost in survival mode. And yet sometimes the way to get through these challenges is to ask those fundamental questions. What's a problem out there that's worth solving, and how can I help solve it? And then kind of coming up with a solution that's a win-win-win for everybody, right? And I think that you've done that so wonderfully with the companies you work with, and also through Connected Ally, which again, you're so graciously giving us your experience and your time to help businesses, and right now, look, a lot of people have lost jobs. So this is a time when a lot of people are becoming entrepreneurs, becoming business people, but never may have had the background or training to really know the pathway to walk. So, thank you so much for that. Mike, what's the best way for people to kind of connect with you, reach out to you, learn more about the 3 different businesses we've talked about today?
Yeah, I mean, you could always go on connectedally.com and then fill out a form there, where I kind of post and interact with a lot of folks, when folks reach out to me, because I'm posting each, whether it's marketing materials or just updates about each of those companies. I do it on my Instagram, which is Soto Fit Life. So yeah, I guess you reach out to me, and again, I hope, again, with Connected Ally, you just said it. So many people are at home right now, and they're nervous about something, or they have these ideas. I'm telling you how many people I've seen just decide to do it, and then we get on a call and they just start taking action. Action cures everything. I mean, I don't care if it's depression, it cures everything. So financial situations, depression, relationship issues, because I mean, it builds self-worth when you're taking action. And in generally, if you have something, God plants a seed in you and an idea in you, it means that it was meant to be manifested or to materialize into the world. And sometimes you just need some help. You're doing this every day, which is awesome, man. I mean, I watch your show every week whenever you have an update, and it's awesome. And you're doing the same thing. So I love it.
Well, thanks, Mike, so much again for bringing yourself, the companies you represent, to the show. And guys, if you're watching this, if nothing else, just go and check out, the different companies Mike's working with, what they're doing, how they've innovated the solutions, and it kind of gets some inspiration. Hey, look, there are people out there with challenges, right? New challenges, old challenges, and just see if you can up your game. And as Mike said, take some action and let's get the ball rolling. Mike, thanks so much for being on the show. And as we like to say here, it's time to buzz off, buddy. Bye for now.
See you, man.